Presence and confidence are not just about how you walk into a room, they're about the invisible signal you send before you even say a word. When a man carries himself with genuine confidence, there's an energy around him that is undeniable. People, especially women, pick up on it instantly. It's not about arrogance or loudness, but about a deep inner knowing of who you are and what you stand for. When you've spent enough time growing, learning, and facing life's challenges, that maturity begins to settle into your bones. It's in your posture, in the way your shoulders naturally relax, in the steady tone of your voice, and in the way your eyes meet someone else's without flinching or darting away. Presence is magnetic because it communicates safety, stability, and leadership without a single word needing to be spoken. A confident older man doesn't need to prove himself. He has already walked through storms, and the lessons are carved into him. This quiet power is attractive because it's rare in a world where most people are chasing validation. Instead of trying to impress, he simply is, comfortable in his own skin, aware of his strengths, and not afraid of his flaws. This kind of presence says, I know where I'm going, and I don't need you to complete me, but I value your company on the journey. That subtle balance between independence and openness draws people in like a gravitational pull. True presence begins with self-awareness. You can't command a room if you don't even know what's going on inside your own mind. When you've done the inner work, whether it's through reflection, study, meditation, or simply living through enough experiences, you start to see yourself clearly. You stop reacting impulsively to every opinion thrown your way. You understand your triggers, your strengths, and your weaknesses. That groundedness is what others feel as confidence. It's why someone might meet you and feel instantly at ease, sensing that you are unshakable. Women are especially perceptive to the emotional state of the people around them. They can detect insecurity disguised as bravado, just as they can sense real confidence that comes from authenticity. An older man who radiates presence doesn't need to announce it. He lives it. He walks into a cafe, sits down, and there's something about the way he occupies space that makes people notice. He doesn't fidget with his phone nervously. He doesn't constantly scan the room for approval. He's simply there, fully in the moment, fully in himself. Confidence also comes from competence. When you've built skills, achieved goals, or faced and overcome real challenges, you carry that proof with you everywhere you go. It's like a quiet trophy in your mind, reminding you that you are capable. This is why presence and confidence can't be faked for long. You can't just put on a suit and expect to have it. It's earned. It's forged in moments when no one was watching, when you were doing the hard thing even though no one was clapping for you. That's the kind of foundation that makes your presence unshakable. There's also a calmness that comes with true presence. A man with real confidence doesn't get easily rattled. He knows that life is full of fluctuations, and he's not trying to control everything. He has learned to be at ease with uncertainty. That calmness is incredibly attractive because it acts like an anchor in a world where most people feel like they're drifting. It tells others, especially women, that they can feel safe and centered around you. Your body language plays a massive role in this too. The way you stand, the pace at which you move, and even the pauses you take when you speak communicate volumes. People with strong presence aren't in a hurry to fill silences. They let moments breathe. They don't shrink themselves to avoid being noticed, nor do they puff themselves up to demand attention. They simply take up their rightful space. And that balance between being noticeable yet never desperate is where real attraction lies. Another layer of presence is your ability to make others feel seen. Confidence isn't about dominating the spotlight. It's about being secure enough to give it away. When you can look someone in the eyes and genuinely listen, when you can hold space for their thoughts and emotions without immediately shifting the focus back to yourself, that's when your presence becomes unforgettable. It's not just about what you project, it's about what you evoke in others. In truth, presence and confidence are deeply tied to your internal dialogue. If you walk into a room thinking about how you're being judged, your energy will reflect that. If you walk in knowing that you belong anywhere you choose to be, people will sense that, too. That's why cultivating presence starts long before you meet anyone. It's shaped in your daily habits, in the way you speak to yourself when no one else is around, in the standards you set for your life. The stronger those foundations, the more natural it is for others to feel drawn to you without even knowing why. Emotional intelligence is the ability to read a situation beyond what is being said and respond in a way that makes the other person feel truly understood. It's not simply about knowing what to say. It's about sensing what is going on beneath the words, beneath the tone, beneath the surface of someone's expression. For an older man, this skill becomes one of the most magnetic traits he can possess. While physical appearance can attract attention, it's emotional intelligence that keeps someone's attention because it creates an experience where the other person feels safe, valued, and seen. Women, in particular, respond deeply to this quality because it speaks to their emotional world, which is often far richer and more layered than they openly express. When a man has emotional intelligence, he listens differently. He's not just waiting for his turn to talk or trying to outshine the conversation. He is present in the moment, tuning into the subtle cues. The way her voice drops slightly when she talks about something sensitive, the slight pause before she answers a question, the change in her breathing when she's excited or upset. These little details are signals, and a man who notices them shows that he is not just hearing, but truly listening. This creates a level of connection that feels rare, because so many people are distracted or preoccupied during conversations. It's also about managing your own emotions. A man with high emotional intelligence doesn't let his feelings spill out in uncontrolled bursts. If he's upset, he can communicate it without aggression. If he's happy, he can share it without making it about seeking validation. He knows how to express vulnerability in a way that strengthens trust rather than erodes it. That steadiness is incredibly attractive because it signals that he can handle emotional complexity without shutting down or lashing out. Women often test, sometimes unconsciously, to see how emotionally grounded a man is. They want to know if he can handle discomfort without running away, if he can stay present when emotions get intense, and if he can respond with empathy rather than defensiveness. Emotional intelligence allows an older man to pass these tests effortlessly, not because he's trying to pass, but because he genuinely understands that emotional expression is not an attack to defend against, but an opportunity to deepen the connection. Empathy plays a central role here. It's the skill of stepping into another person's perspective without immediately imposing your own. An emotionally intelligent man can hear a woman's frustration and not instantly jump to fixing it unless she's asking for solutions. He can simply be there, letting her feel heard. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing, just listening, holding space, and acknowledging her feelings with your presence. That ability to resist the urge to control the emotional flow and instead flow with it makes a man's presence unforgettable. Self-regulation is another key piece. An emotionally intelligent man doesn't get hooked into petty arguments or escalate tensions over small disagreements. He recognizes when the conversation is slipping into a reactive state, and he knows how to steer it back to a productive place. This isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about handling it in a way that leaves both people feeling respected rather than drained. This level of emotional maturity communicates that he is dependable, not just in good times, but when challenges arise. There's also a certain patience that comes with emotional intelligence. Rather than rushing someone to open up, he gives them space. Rather than demanding instant resolution, he understands that feelings take time to process. This patience communicates respect for the other person's inner world, and that respect is one of the most powerful forms of attraction there is. It says, I value not just who you are when you're smiling, but also who you are when you're uncertain, tired, or struggling. Part of this skill is reading the unspoken language in every interaction. A glance that lingers a second too long, a subtle shift in body posture, the hesitation before answering a question. These are all forms of communication, and an emotionally intelligent man picks up on them. He's not hyper-analyzing every move, but his awareness is tuned in enough to adapt naturally. If she needs space, he senses it without her having to spell it out. If she's excited, he knows how to match her energy without overwhelming her. Emotional intelligence also requires a healthy relationship with your own ego. When your self-worth isn't constantly under threat, you can approach situations without the need to always be right, to always win, or to always control the outcome. This creates a sense of ease in conversations because the other person feels free to express themselves without fear of being shut down or dominated. That openness builds trust faster than any clever line or display of status ever could. At its core, emotional intelligence is about connection over control, understanding over assumption, presence over performance. It's not just knowing the right things to say. It's about becoming the kind of man who creates a space where another person feels safe to be fully themselves without fear of judgment or rejection. This is the kind of depth that lingers in someone's mind long after the conversation is over, because it wasn't just about the words exchanged. It was about the way they felt in your presence. Living a purpose-driven life means waking up each morning with a sense of direction that goes beyond the routine obligations of the day. It's the difference between drifting aimlessly and moving with intention, between existing and truly living. For an older man, this quality becomes magnetic because it reflects years of reflection, decision-making, and the courage to align actions with deeper values. Purpose is more than a career, a title, or an achievement. It's the guiding principle that shapes how you approach life, how you treat people, and how you make decisions even when no one is watching. When someone sees that you live for something bigger than temporary pleasures or momentary distractions, they feel a pull toward you because that level of clarity is rare. Purpose gives your life a gravitational center. It prevents you from being swayed by every passing opinion, trend, or emotional whim. A man who lives with purpose doesn't need to chase validation or approval because his sense of worth comes from his mission, not from the shifting reactions of others. This stability is compelling because it communicates that you have something worth following, something worth respecting. People, especially women, are naturally drawn to someone who knows where he's going, not because they want to be controlled, but because they sense the security and excitement in joining someone on a meaningful path. When you live with purpose, your decisions become sharper. You're not just reacting to life, you're designing it. Opportunities are measured against your values, and you have the strength to say no to things that don't serve your long-term vision. That refusal to compromise on what matters most builds an aura of integrity, and integrity is a rare and attractive trait. It tells others that you are not for sale, that you cannot be swayed by every temptation, that you stand for something, even when it's inconvenient. Purpose also changes the way you use your time. You become selective with the people you let into your life, the conversations you engage in, and the activities you give your energy to. You stop wasting hours on meaningless arguments or hollow entertainment because you recognize that every moment can be invested in something that moves you forward. This doesn't mean you stop enjoying life. It means you enjoy it with intention. Even your leisure time is enriched because it's a conscious choice, not an escape from a life that feels empty. A purpose-driven man also brings passion into everything he does. This passion isn't loud or performative. It's steady and focused. It's in the way he tackles his work, the way he maintains his health, the way he builds his relationships. People can feel this energy. They sense that you're not just going through the motions, but actually putting your heart into the things that matter to you. That kind of enthusiasm is contagious. It makes others want to raise their own standards simply by being around you. The beauty of purpose is that it naturally creates resilience. When life inevitably throws challenges your way, you're less likely to crumble because you know why you're pushing forward. You have a why that's bigger than the setback. You can face failures, losses, and moments of doubt without losing your sense of self because your identity isn't tied to a single outcome. It's tied to the bigger mission. That resilience is magnetic because it communicates strength, and strength wrapped in purpose is one of the most powerful combinations there is. Living with purpose also creates a natural leadership quality. People feel safer around you because they know you're not easily distracted or led astray. They trust that your decisions are guided by principles rather than impulses. This kind of reliability builds deep respect, and respect is a foundation for lasting attraction. It's not about being perfect or always in control, but about having a consistent compass that others can rely on. A man with a clear purpose also knows how to inspire without forcing. He doesn't preach endlessly or demand that others adopt his vision. Instead, he leads by example, letting his life speak louder than his words. He understands that the most effective way to encourage others to find their own purpose is to fully embody his own. This authenticity removes any sense of manipulation and replaces it with admiration, because people can see the genuine alignment between what you believe and how you live. Purpose transforms your presence because it changes the way you carry yourself. You walk differently when you know where you're going. You speak differently when you believe in what you're saying. You make eye contact with conviction because you're not hiding behind uncertainty. This groundedness makes every interaction more meaningful because people can sense that you are not here to waste their time or yours. Even in small, everyday moments, purpose shows itself. It's in how you respond to challenges, in the way you treat strangers, in the patience you show when things don't go your way. It's the steady reminder that your life is part of a bigger picture, and every choice is either moving you closer to or further from that vision. That awareness shapes your energy, your relationships, and your overall presence in the world in a way that can't be faked or replicated. Mastering emotional resilience means developing the inner strength to face life's inevitable challenges without allowing them to break you or define you. It's the art of taking negative feelings, anger, fear, disappointment, frustration, and transforming them into something that fuels your growth instead of crippling your progress. For an older man, this trait carries immense weight because it shows maturity, discipline, and an ability to navigate the storms of life without losing balance. People, especially women, are drawn to this quality because it represents stability in a world where most people are easily shaken by adversity. Resilience is not about pretending you don't feel pain. It's about feeling it fully, processing it, and then using it as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. When you master emotional resilience, you stop being a prisoner to your circumstances. You recognize that life will not always go according to plan, and you accept that challenges are not interruptions to your journey. They are part of the journey. This shift in perspective is powerful because it prevents you from wasting energy resisting what has already happened. Instead, you channel that energy into adapting, learning, and finding new solutions. That adaptability is a quiet strength that inspires confidence in the people around you. Resilience also requires the ability to detach from immediate emotional reactions. Most people, when faced with something negative, respond instantly with anger, panic, or self-pity. An emotionally resilient man takes a pause. He doesn't ignore his feelings, but he doesn't let them take the wheel either. He breathes, assesses the situation, and chooses his next step from a place of clarity rather than chaos. That pause, small as it may seem, is often the difference between making a wise decision and creating more problems. Negative feelings are inevitable, but resilience transforms the way you relate to them. Instead of seeing them as signs of weakness, you view them as signals, messages from your mind and body telling you something needs to be addressed. Maybe frustration is telling you a boundary has been crossed. Maybe sadness is showing you where you need healing. By listening to these signals without being consumed by them, you gain control over your internal world. That control doesn't mean you suppress your emotions. It means you guide them in a direction that serves your higher goals. Another aspect of resilience is the ability to hold on to your identity and values, even in the face of external pressure. Life will test you with situations where the easiest path might be to compromise your integrity. A resilient man resists that temptation because he understands that his character is worth more than a temporary gain. This unwavering commitment to who you are builds trust with others because they know you won't abandon your principles when things get tough. Resilient people also have the capacity to see opportunity within difficulty. They don't deny that challenges are hard, but they look for the lesson or the hidden advantage. This mindset shift turns setbacks into training grounds for personal growth. Losing a job becomes a chance to pursue a new direction. A relationship ending becomes an opportunity to rediscover yourself. Each hardship is reframed as preparation for something greater, and this perspective keeps you moving forward when others might give up. Emotional resilience is also tied to self-compassion. Being strong does not mean being harsh with yourself. In fact, resilience often comes from the opposite. Treating yourself with understanding when you fall short, recognizing that mistakes and failures are part of growth. When you give yourself permission to be human, you remove the fear of failure, which in turn allows you to take more calculated risks and embrace new experiences. A resilient man is also able to provide stability for others without losing himself in their problems. He can be a source of comfort and support, yet still maintain his boundaries so that he doesn't burn out. This balance of empathy and self-protection ensures that his strength is sustainable, not a performance that will collapse under pressure. This quality is especially attractive because it signals to others that they can lean on you without fearing you'll crumble in the process. Part of resilience is the ability to recover quickly from emotional setbacks. It doesn't mean you never feel hurt or disappointed, but it means you don't stay in that state longer than necessary. You process the emotion, extract the lesson, and take the next step. This quick recovery is essential because it allows you to remain effective and focused even when things go wrong. The more you practice this skill, the less power negative experiences have over you. Ultimately, mastering emotional resilience creates a deep inner calm. You know that no matter what happens, you have the tools to handle it. You've faced challenges before, and you've come out stronger, so you trust that you can do it again. This quiet confidence radiates in your interactions, influencing how people perceive you. They see someone who is not easily thrown off balance, someone who can weather the storms without losing sight of the shore, someone whose steadiness becomes a source of reassurance for everyone around them. Consistency in character is the steady, unwavering alignment between what you say, what you believe, and how you act. Day after day, year after year. It's the quality that makes people trust you, not because of what you promise, but because of what you've proven over time. This is not about perfection, it's about reliability. A man with consistency in character is predictable in the best possible way. People know where he stands, they know what to expect from him, and they know that he won't suddenly shift his morals, values, or loyalty just because it's convenient. That kind of steadiness is rare in a world where so many people bend with the winds of circumstance, and it's one of the most powerful forms of respect you can earn. When you are consistent in your character, you create a sense of safety around you. People don't have to wonder if today you're going to be kind and tomorrow you'll be dismissive. They don't have to guess whether you're going to keep your word this time or let it slide. They can trust that your behavior comes from principles, not moods. This dependability builds strong, lasting connections because trust isn't built in big, dramatic moments. It's built in the quiet repetition of doing what you say you'll do. This consistency also shows in how you handle both good times and bad times. Anyone can be pleasant and generous when things are going their way, but a man's true character shows when life gets difficult. Do you still treat people with respect when you're under stress? Do you still uphold your values when you're tempted to cut corners? Consistency means your principles aren't conditional. They don't vanish the moment they become inconvenient. That steadfastness communicates that your character is rooted in something deeper than circumstances, and people naturally gravitate toward that stability. A consistent man doesn't wear different masks depending on who he's with. He doesn't pretend to be one thing in public and another in private. This kind of authenticity makes you easier to connect with because people don't have to question whether they're seeing the real you. It's not about sharing every detail of your life. It's about ensuring that the values you project are the same values you live by, even when no one is watching. That integrity creates a quiet authority, the kind that doesn't need to be announced because it's felt. Consistency in character also applies to how you handle your commitments. Whether it's showing up on time, following through on promises, or maintaining the same work ethic over years, these small acts of reliability add up. People notice patterns, and when your pattern is one of dependability, it builds a reputation that opens doors and earns respect without you having to demand it. This is especially attractive because it signals discipline, self-respect, and a long-term mindset, qualities that are becoming increasingly rare. Being consistent doesn't mean being rigid or unwilling to grow. In fact, true consistency in character requires flexibility in methods while staying firm in principles. You can adapt to new situations and learn from new information without abandoning your core values. This balance shows maturity, the ability to evolve without losing your identity. It's the difference between being stubborn and being steadfast, and it's what makes your presence reassuring rather than oppressive. Consistency also plays a crucial role in leadership. People will follow someone they can count on, not someone whose behavior changes unpredictably. As an older man with a history of consistent actions, you become a source of guidance simply by being yourself. Others watch how you navigate life and begin to model their own behavior after yours, not because you told them to, but because they see the results of living with integrity. Your consistency extends into relationships, where it becomes a foundation of trust and emotional safety. In romantic relationships, this means showing affection regularly, keeping communication open, and maintaining the same level of respect throughout the years. It's not about grand gestures. It's about the everyday moments where you show that you care, even when there's no special occasion. Over time, these moments become a record of reliability that speaks louder than any declaration of love. In friendships and professional relationships, consistency means being there when you say you will, offering help when it's needed, and keeping confidences no matter the circumstances. It's showing up with the same level of honesty whether the conversation is easy or difficult. This steadiness makes people feel secure around you because they know you're not going to betray them for personal gain or shift your loyalty when it's convenient. Ultimately, consistency in character builds a kind of respect that is not easily shaken. It's the slow accumulation of trust, reliability, and integrity over time, and it doesn't require you to convince anyone of your worth. People simply see it in the way you live. They see it in how your words match your actions, how your promises are honored, and how your values remain intact no matter what you face. They know that you are the same person on your best days and your worst days, and that kind of stability is something people instinctively want to be around because it's so rare in the world today.